Hey everyone, and welcome back, to the UniSimRacing channel. Today we're diving back into Le Mans Ultimate, but this time with a new and particularly demanding combo. We're hitting the legendary Le Mans circuit with the LMU GT3 cars running on fixed setups. This combo is no walk in the park, not just because of the track's length and the technical challenges baked into some of its sectors, but especially because we can't fully tweak our setup to suit our driving. We've only got limited control over a few parameters: brake bias, brake pressure, and electronics. And even within those, the range of adjustment is pretty narrow. What that means is simple. It's not the car that adapts to us. We're the ones who have to adapt to the car and the track. In this video, we'll break down every corner, every single meter of Le Mans, an iconic circuit that lends its name to the title itself. Studio 397 did a fantastic job crafting a modern, meticulously detailed version of the track, making it a joy to drive on, even when you're just lapping solo. So let's jump in by approaching Turn 1. Dunlop. Before we even take on Turn 1 properly, let me drop a quick but valuable tip for sim drivers. In Le Mans Ultimate, less is often more when it comes to track distance. Thanks to the mechanical grip from the tires and the inherent stability of GT3 cars, you can often opt for tighter, more direct lines instead of wide sweeping arcs. Of course, don't go overboard, but this approach can easily net you 50 to 60 milliseconds per lap. And those are gains you'd be crazy to leave on the table, especially since they're basically free. When you actually get to Turn 1, keep your car hugged close to the inside curb, but just with the inner part of your rear axle, not half the car. If you can hook into that curb just right, it acts like a rail, giving you a massive grip boost. The first braking zone kicks in just after the total energies board. Use that as your visual reference and start braking either right after it or just as you draw alongside. The braking here needs to be strong and sustained. Apply firm pressure and keep it consistent until the moment you need to begin steering. Only then start releasing the brake gradually. Up until that point, stay as straight as possible to maximize the braking force and get the best performance from the ABS system. As for the turn-in, you can use all the track, even going beyond the white line a bit, but your outer wheel still has to stay inside it. You could technically cut a bit more, but even like this, you're at the edge of what's acceptable. Feel free to ride the sausage curbs slightly. They're not disruptive, so you can be pretty aggressive through here. Heading here, you'll notice that the minimum speed hovers around 100 kilometers per hour. Right after Turn 1, there's a quick direction change, and this is where assertiveness pays off. Yes, guide the car with the wheel, but also give it a firm nudge to snap into the new direction. If you're too gentle here, you won't rotate in time and will likely struggle with heavy understeer. A word of caution though, do not exceed the white line. If you knock over a track marker and go beyond, the sim will flag it as a cut. So hug the limits, but don't cross them. That's how you nail a clean and fast exit. Then we get into the S's, where there's one crucial detail you need to keep in mind. Take a close look at the track surface. It's not flat. There's a subtle slope and some banking in place, and that actually works in your favor. The car naturally gets pulled downward, which helps both during turn-in and while braking. Because of that, you can brake a bit later than usual here. Use the signs on the side of the track as your reference, but don't brake exactly next to them. Start a little earlier. Brake pressure here drops off fast, so you'll need to modulate it carefully. This whole segment is almost like a mini parabola, slightly banked, which also means you get a bonus during throttle application. Your tires are in full compression, giving you loads of grip. As you exit that S section, remember, it's absolutely worth knocking over the little bollard to fully take advantage of the rail effect we talked about earlier in Turn 1. That final part of the corner is exactly where the car needs to stay hooked in the most. Doing so helps you keep the line tight, prevents you from running wide, and lets you avoid the outer curb, which, while not super punishing, is still a bit slick. If you can stick to the inside, you'll eliminate unwanted vibrations, gain traction, and keep your driving clean and efficient. Now we head into Tertre Rouge, one of the most demanding corners at Le Mans. You've got to use every inch of available track. Grab all of the inside curb on entry to set yourself up properly for the turn-in. No need to downshift hard or slam the brakes. Just a quick dab to help rotate the car and scrub a bit of speed. You can cut deep into the inside here, but beware. Just like elsewhere, the white line marks the track limit. Cross it and the sim will flag it. It's a fast exit, so precision matters. Once you're through, you're on to the first section of the Hunaudière straight. Let's simplify this part. For the first chicane, brake at around the 100-meter board. Keep in mind that GT3 cars here have slightly less top-end speed compared to those in GT World Challenge or GT Masters. On this long stretch, you'll max out at about 280 kilometers per hour in a GT3, while other classes might break the 290 mark. That means you can afford to brake just a touch later. Use a bit of the outer track on entry, but don't go crazy. The surface out there gets bumpy, and if you stray too far, you might hit a dip or an uneven patch that unsettles the car right as you turn in. Hit the brakes hard, drop to third, and aggressively ride the curbs. They help keep you locked into the racing line, almost like rails guiding your path. As you hit the second part of the chicane, tap the brakes again, downshift to second, and use the curbs once more to stay stable. Get back on the throttle immediately. What really matters here is that your car is back within track limits before the curb begins. If your rear wheel touches the curb as you turn in, it's a cut. You don't need to run wide on the exit either, even if the car feels like it could. Don't flirt with the guardrail. Besides risking a penalty, the wider line doesn't give you any real payoff in terms of speed or positioning. Moving on, you hit the second chicane, which is essentially a mirrored version of the first. Brake at the 100-meter board here too. You could delay braking slightly, but it's not really worth it. Doing so could mess up your entry and cost you the perfect hit on the first curb, which again acts like a rail. It's not mandatory to climb all over it, like in the first chicane, since the layout here is wider and more forgiving. But if you do use it, there's no downside. On exit, the car naturally wants to drift outward. As always, respect the white line, and you're in the clear. Next, we come to Mulsanne Corner. Your visual braking reference should be the curb from the small kink just before the turn. It works for two key reasons. It lets you brake in a straighter line, and it gives you a consistent visual cue every lap. As you approach it, brake hard. Drop from sixth to second, and then slot it into first toward the end of the braking zone. Always try to hook into the inside curb. It keeps your line stable and predictable, just like riding on rails. If you're feeling bold, you can knock down the inner bollards, but that's flirting with the edge. It all depends on how strict the server's penalty system is. If it's harsh, don't risk it. If it's more forgiving, you might be able to get away with it. Either way, the golden rule stays the same. The white line defines the limit. Use the inside curb to guide the car and make sure you're back within bounds right away. One more key point. On exit, place the car so the outer wheel touches the very edge of the track, right where it's been designed to catch the tire. Don't stop short, don't hang in the middle of the track. Push the car out all the way to the edge. That's how you maximize your space without risking a penalty. Then as you move forward, keep in mind a simple but super effective tip. You can shave off a few meters by sticking to the inside line during the first direction change. Hug that lane tight before swinging out wide again and shift straight into sixth gear. No need to drop into fifth. Don't bother stretching fifth gear here. It doesn't bring any real benefit. Now let's talk about Indianapolis, a corner that's all about mindset. The biggest mistake you can make here is lacking confidence. If you approach it with fear or hesitation, you can be sure you're going to get it wrong. Here's an important clarification. That outer section isn't just some painted runoff, it's either concrete or painted asphalt. When it's wet, definitely avoid it. But in the dry, it becomes an asset. Having that extra lateral room gives you more space to prepare the turn in. It's always better to use all the track width rather than staying tight. Even a few extra centimeters can allow you to steer earlier and carry more speed into the corner. The one real mistake you can make at Indianapolis is lifting off the throttle. Letting off the gas shifts weight to the front axle and lightens the rear, causing you to lose rear-end grip. That's when the car snaps into a spin. Instead, keep your foot in it, especially at corner entry, so that weight distribution stays more balanced and the car remains planted. The initial phase of this turn should be taken with the throttle wide open. Only start easing off toward the apex when you want the car to rotate a bit more. That's when you can shift some weight to the front tires, but just a touch. Don't lift completely. No need to drop to half throttle either. Once the car rotates, then you can fully release the throttle momentarily to let it finish the turn. If you do it too early or too sharply, you risk snapping the rear and flying off the track. As the car straightens up, use the start of the little side road as your braking reference. It's not a proper escape road, but it works well as a visual cue. That's where you hit the brakes hard and stay straight for the first 20 or 30 meters. But the real turning point, the moment that makes or breaks the corner, happens earlier. It's the decision not to lift off the throttle before you get there. If you lift too soon, you've already messed up the turn. Downshift into second and aim for the inside curb. Here's an extra tip. If you carry a bit more speed and a tire sneaks just past the curb onto this painted section here, don't panic. Le Mans Ultimate isn't like Assetto Corsa Competizione. The gravel doesn't suck you in like quicksand. I'm not saying you can glide over it like tarmac, but pretty close. If just the right side of the car dips in, say, the two right tires and a little more, you barely lose any time. We're talking thousandths of a second that you can easily claw back with a stronger exit. If you can stay within the curb limits, great. But even if you step over a little, you've got room to recover. In short, there's a pretty forgiving window here that allows you to stay safe from errors without major consequence. Next up is 𝐅𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐿. Your braking reference is the Goodyear sign. As long as you're level with it, you're at the right spot to start slowing down. Now, unless you're running triple screens, you probably won't see that sign anymore once you're on top of it. But keep it in mind regardless. The moment you pass it, get your front wheel close to the inside curb right away. On exit, aim to brush the tire barrier on the outside. Leave the smallest possible gap. Now let's get ready for the first of the Porsche Curves. Just like at Indianapolis, lateral space is everything here, so use all of it. That green painted runoff isn't there by accident. It's practically inviting you to take advantage of it. The more of it you use, the better your chances of nailing the braking point and setting up the ideal line into the corner. Drop a gear and commit. Go full throttle immediately. Use every inch of the track. Brush that outside wall, shift up into fifth, then give a quick lift and downshift again. You can even feather the brake a little, just a few quick stabs if it helps keep the car clamped to the line. The key here is precision and consistency. Once you pass the first Ava sign on the right, you're entering the trickiest part of the section. Give a gentle brake tap, ease off the throttle just a touch, then get back on it immediately. This helps the car stay glued to the apex. It's crucial to cut deep into this corner, once again tapping into that rail effect. The inner sausage curbs that would ruin your day on other sims? Here, they're tame. You can hit them confidently. No drama, no penalties. Now we approach the Ford chicanes, the final corners of the lap. Here, clarity is key. As you take on the first chicane and move into the second part, remember this. If you're still touching the brakes there, you entered too slowly. Let's lock in a visual reference. The braking point is exactly where the white pit lane line splits into two. One for the pit entry, one for the main track. That's your marker. Brake hard. The entry is sharp and demanding. Then, as you begin to turn in, start to ease off the brake progressively. Downshift into third. You can cut this section quite a bit. Again, the white line is the true limit. The bollard can be hit, it won't affect your run. After that first direction change, you'll need another brake tap. Use every inch you can. The more you cut here, the better position you'll be for the final chicane up ahead. As mentioned earlier, between the first and second curves, if you don't give that small brake touch, you'll be too slow through the transition. Once you begin turning left, downshift again, and brake in sync, it's all got to happen together. This is another cutting zone. Make sure you strike the red curb of the second curve cleanly. It provides huge grip and excellent stability. As soon as the car hooks in, slam the throttle. Use all of the green runoff on the exit. That's the end of the lap. If this helped you out, drop a comment. Let us know how you're finding Le Mans, what you love, what you'd tweak. Catch you in the next video. See you soon.